My, welcome to another Creaky Gamers battle report. You might see Master Luke.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, that's the key positions, battle lines, and a hostile environment. Rebels. And I've got 2 Mark IIs and 2 veterans here. And then I've got a fully kitted out unit of Mandos. Best duelist. Best duelist in there. And they've got jetpack rockets, situational awareness, prepared supplies. And I've also given them an emergency transponder. So they got that as well. I can remember to use that.
They are armed for bear.
In the bus there's some Wookiees with the bowcaster and tenacity, and then there's Luke, and Luke has got he's got Jedi mind trick, force push, force reflexes, situational awareness. Shadow Collective, led by Gar Saxon. Yeah,
Gar Saxon here has the combat shield, the rifle, and the jetpack rockets.
Yep.
Plus, what did I say I took
Personal
before?
combat
Up
shield.
close and personal.
Oh, okay, yep.
Then I got 2 units of Mandos, exactly the same.
Shields, rockets.
Rockets, shields, and the extra commando, which gives me Cache Surge 2.
Yep.
I'll have to put that on in a sec. Then I've got 2 units of Pike, exactly the same with the P13M Disruptor.
Yep.
And the Pike Capo.
Capo, yep.
2 units of Black Suns, exactly the same with the Black Sun Vigo and the Scattergun and Enforcer.
Scattergunners,
So
yep.
then the second, and over here hiding
Some swoop bikes over
the
there.
swoop bikes. Nude.
Nude swoop bikes.
Just 2 drinks, that place too.
Turn 1.
Return of the Jedi. And the scenario
What's in
is...
the bag? Got a corpse unit.
Yep.
Okay, so my rebel list, I'm running Operative Luke. I just want to try out Jedi mind trick, and you serve your master well. I've used Op Luke a couple of times. Here you can see the Mandos have jumped over and they're firing some rockets over the logs there, and I'm losing a couple of veterans. The key position in the middle, they've moved some Black Suns up behind the building in the middle there, and the bus has made a single move. So I'm going to get the Wookiees out of the bus, the old Wookiees in the bus trick. It's always good fun, but then the Wookiees tend to not do enough damage and then die anyway. So they charge out of the bus, they disembark, and then they get a charge move into the Black Suns there. And I think after that they've killed a couple of Black Suns. That will probably be an exchange of units, because maybe I'll finish off the Black Suns, but then I'm going to get shot to pieces. And so I'm just using the bus as a bit of cover, and I'm going to move Luke up behind the bus as well. Then the Gar Saxon has brought a couple of swoop bikes, so he's trying to keep those alive. I've been talking up the swoop bikes because I have faced them a couple of times and they've run over the top of me with their overrun attacks and so on, but he's keeping them safe, so he's run them up there behind a tree. And then I'm using my Rebel Mandos. I haven't used them before. I painted them up ages ago and haven't used them, so here they are. They're jumping up on top of the building, and I want to get rid of those bikes, so I'm going to fire my rockets into the bikes. You can just barely see one behind the tree there. So a rocket attack, and I do a couple of wounds to the bikes. So they're still there. And so Luke's just going to run up behind that building as well. That building in the centre of the table is a key position, and it's providing good cover to everybody. But the Shadow Collective, Mandos, they've taken good positions up on the buildings here. So they're sweeping around this flank with all their rockets. And I've got 1 Mark II here that he's fired a few rockets at and so on, and it's just taken a couple of suppressions. So sometimes white saves can be lucky. So that's about it for turn 1. The Black Suns have been pinned down by the Wookiees in the middle, and Luke's just run up behind the building there, and we tidy up after round 1.
And now, turn 2.
Okay. Oh, I'm going first. Mine's 2 troopers. When I give an order to a trooper, they get a dodge tape. We'll go to the bag. It is... it's the bus. the boss.
Okay, so into turn 2, and I've got an order on the Wookiees and an order on Luke, and they've both got dodges. So I go to the bag and I draw the bus, and the bus has a pot shot at the bikes and totally misses. So that was a bit unlucky, and then he's going to go with the bikes. He's not sure where to go, because if he comes this way towards me, I've still got Luke and Mandos and veterans and so on, and a Mark II there as well. So the bikes decide that they're just going to move across the table and try and keep themselves going, keep them alive until later in the game. So the bikes move down the table very fast with their compulsory move and so on. So there's the bikes. And the problem is all these Mandos and my veterans are all pinned down here in the middle. He's got 2 units of Mandos and Gar Saxon moving up the left flank for the Shadow Collective. And I've just moved my Mandos up there, getting ready to pounce. So I'm using this middle building as some cover. And then he's had enough of my little Mark II here, so Gar Saxon moves up to have a shot at my little Mark II blaster. And what do you know? I roll another couple of surges. So he saves. He's got a couple of wounds left, but there's plenty of Mandos there to finish him off. So that Mark II blaster should probably be dead by now. But so I go with him. He fires back at Gar Saxon, but with the cover and everything, he just bounces off a shield. So I'm pinned down here. I've got a couple of units of veterans hiding behind the trees here, while the Mandos are picking them off. And then we go to the middle combat here. So the Black Suns come out of the bag, and there's 4 of them left, and they make short work of one of the Wookiees. So one Wookiee goes down, so I'm down to 3 Wookiees left there. So we'll see if they'll be enough to finish off the Mandos, the Black Suns behind the building. I've still got Luke to go, so I'm keeping him safe. He's got a dodge on him at the moment. And then I'm just having a pot shot here, some veterans with their CMO 93 gun, the long range 4 white dice gun. Anyway, no effect there. He's got some pikes up on this rock up here, so they're having some pot shots, and they're shooting at my Mandos. I do have prepared supplies, so I decide to use that dodge, and because they're nimble, they get a dodge anyway. So I don't lose any Mandos yet. But I've used up my prepared supplies, and so they've gained a dodge. And the key position in the middle, and the other one's that tree up the top right hand corner there. So I'm returning fire with a few of the veterans. We've got a couple of crits there, but the Mandos are shrugging them off. And the pikes with their dodges and situational awareness, they're outmaneuver and so on. And then we've got more Mandos on this building. They're going to jump down, and I've got that little Mark II. So these Mandos are coming down to finish off the job. And after all the aims and re-rolls and so on, there's a lot of dice coming in. And the little Mark II blaster, he's had enough, and he's going to fail his armor saves. Yeah, he fails, and he's out of there. So that Mark II blaster survived pretty well. But those Mando shots are pretty tough, and they're hard to kill. So you either got to concentrate on them or just hope they don't kill you. So I'm moving up another Mark II in the middle, putting him on standby to try and keep the Mandos honest. Eventually I'm going to have to go with the Wookiees here. I'm trying to hold off because I don't want them to kill all those Black Suns and then get killed, get shot. And I roll too well, and the Black Suns roll poorly. They've used up their surge in attack. So they take 4 wounds and they're all gone. So now the Wookiees are stuck there in the open. That's not what I wanted. I wanted one Black Sun to survive. So the return fire here, the pikes shoot at my Wookiees. And after this exchange, I'm only going to have the leader of the Wookiees left. I rolled lots of surges, but they don't surge. So the Wookiee leader is left, that's all. And I think I'm just going to move Luke up behind the building and wait for next turn. So, yeah, I think Luke just runs up behind the building, hiding there, ready for next turn to pounce out. I really want to try you serve your master well. And then the Black Suns aim and fire at the last Wookiee And that's pretty much the end of the turn and end of the game for the Wookiees. So we tidy up for turn 3.
Getting interesting now. Turn
It's a
3.
game of aim or a dodge. I think.
Okay, so we both play our 1 pips this turn, and the Shadow Collective win the roll-off, and so they're going first. So first up, he goes with those Mandos up on the rock there, and I thought he was going to finish off my Mark II blast with 1 wound left, but he wants to try and get rid of my Mandos, so he can see a couple there. So a shot into my Mandos. I need to keep them around this centre objective. I've still got a couple of veterans left in that unit, and some veterans hiding behind the tree here, but I lose one of my Mandos. And then it's time for Luke to go. You serve your master well. He's got those observation tokens on from the command card, from the Shadow Collective command card, marked for elimination, I think it is. He rallies off a couple of suppression, and then he moves up, and he uses Jedi Mind Trick on the Black Suns there, and then convinces them into shooting at the pikes. So you serve your master well. So this is my plan all along, to try and get this off. And I wasn't sure if you could use the tokens on the Black Sun, so I didn't use them, but I've since found out that I could have used the Surge and the Aim that are on the Black Suns. Anyway, they did a little bit of damage and killed 3 of the pikes, I think. Yeah, so 3 of them failed. And then Luke's second action, he charges into the Black Suns, so they surround him, and he has a swing on them with his lightsaber, and I think he kills 3 of them or something like that. And then his last effort will be to just force push those pikes into him as well. Yeah, so he kills 3 Black Suns. There's 3 left, and his last free activation is to force push those pikes into him as well, to keep them tied up. So Luke's got a bit of work to do in the middle there, and I think he read his force push after that with Master of the Force 1. Alright, so I'm sort of holding this objective here with the bus, and the middle objective is going to be the important one. These pikes up on the top there, I think he might be attacking Luke with the Black Suns, and eventually Luke takes a wound and the pikes punch him as well. This is the pikes attacking Luke. They use the observation tokens and so on. They've got 2 attack dice, 2 white dice each, the pikes, in combat. And so Luke's taken a wound, and he's still carrying 1 suppression. But hopefully he can clean those guys up, and then come a few wounds onto the Mandos as well. So the key position in the middle is going to be the key one. That tree back there, he's going to have to go back to that tree up the top right-hand corner there. So one of those Mando units is going to have to go that way at the end of the game. And I've only got 1 Mando left. So I activate the bus, then he comes out the bag, and I use the medic to bring back one of my Mandos. They get a suppression as well. But at least the bus has done something. The bus has a good shot here up those pikes standing on top of the rock there, and I get 3 wounds through, so that'll slow them down a little bit. So the bus doing a little bit of work after dropping off the Wookiees, and the Wookiees are long gone. So Gar Saxon, I think Gar Saxon's the one to do it. He's fed up with his little Mark II blaster surviving as well, and eventually finishes off that final blaster. So my Mark II blasters didn't do much damage, but they absorbed a lot of firepower. And I still have some veterans clinging to the building and 1 unit clinging to the tree there. So that central objective. So these veterans, they decide to have a shot, and then they move around the other side of the building. So just a suppression on the Mandos. So that's about it. I think... Yes, there's a little bit more shooting here. So these Mandos are going to jump up. I think they fire their rockets at my Mandos as well. So it's they're using up their rockets into my Mandos, and I think I save. Yeah, I save all 3 this time. So I've still got 2 Mandos alive. I've got to try and keep them alive now. And maybe they can come in handy at the end of the game. So that's pretty much the summary of turn 3. Luke has dived in, and veterans under
Will
assault.
our hero
Right,
survive?
Son of
Turn
Skywalker.
4.
Done.
It's just like, there you go. Nothing out, but hey, lots of tokens.
All right, what will I do? I will.
So you get a pass this turn?
How many you got?
5, 6.
I got 5. Yeah, well, until something dies. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you don't. Whatever you got left in your bag and stuff as well. Yeah. I will go to the bag because I think Luke can handle those dies. I go to the bag and I get the bus. I didn't really want the bus.
Okay, so Son of Skywalker turn. Luke is tied up with some pikes and some black suns, but I take the gamble, hoping that Luke can survive for a little bit longer while I try and get my Mandos to safety. But I drew the bus, so the bus Shriv puts a dodge onto the Mandos, my little couple of Mandos I have left, and aims and fires at those pikes up on the rock. So he has neutered those guys. There's only the capo left. Then the Black Suns try and beat up Luke, so they don't get their suppression off, but they aim and punch Luke. And luckily I took a gamble here. Luke took a couple of wounds, so Luke's taken 3 wounds now. So he's in a bit of trouble, but I'm going to hang on, go to the bag. I'm trying to get these veterans out of trouble, so I'm trying to return some fire on these Mandos. So he's got Gar Saxon and 2 units of Mandos here, zooming in. And I've got one little squad of veterans huddled behind the tree there, trying to hold them off. Eventually I draw my Mandos and I'm going to jump back over to the home objective. So he's trying to pin those Mandos down. They take a couple of more suppression, but I've got a dodge and so on. So there's a whole boat of guns coming in there from the Mandos. You see Gar Saxon and a couple of units of Mandos there. And I've only got 2 of my little Mandos left. And they're suppressed, 3 suppression on them. So I've got these veterans hiding behind the tree and the Mandos. And then the pikes decide to punch Luke as well. And Luke in a bit of trouble. And so there's the pikes attacking Luke. Luke's surrounded by the Black Suns and the pikes. And look, luckily I rolled 3 saves for Luke. So that was probably a bit of a turning point. If Luke had taken a couple of more wounds there, it would have been very dangerous to bring him out of that combat. Anyway, so my Mandos rally, and then I'm just going to jump them over. They're heading back that way. That's a key position. So that tree's a key position. So we're thinking earlier on the game that they're not going to be able to hold off those Mandos. So they're just going to go and hide back there and take that key position. And then I've got 1 unit of veterans left huddled behind the tree, facing off against all these Mandos. So their job is just to survive and maybe run over to the centre key position if I've got anyone left at the end. So a bit of firepower coming in. And then finally I decided to go with Luke. So it's Son of Skywalker turn. And I swing at the Black Suns. And it takes both swings from his Son of Skywalker turn. So I kill 1 Black Sun. And then I have to use my other action, other attack, my free attack, to finish off the other Black Suns. So Luke is there. I don't force push the pikes off because I want to keep him safe from Gar Saxon's shooting. So that's pretty much it for turn 4. So Luke tied up and all to play for a couple of turns. Key positions are open.
Can we keep going? Turn 5.
Okay. It's your turn to roll the dice to see who goes first. So on a block, it's you. Yep.
Nope.
No, it's us.
So Luke is full of surprises versus aggression, and the roll-off goes to Luke. And so I think I'm just going to leave Luke in combat there at the moment. He's got a dodge on him, and the Gar Saxon and the Mandos get a whole bunch of tokens and so on. So I think I'm going to go to the bag. My plan is to try and hold, well, I'm going to hold this key position at the back. I'm just going to pivot the bus and leave the bus on that home position. So that's my position there. there will be a fight for the key position in the middle. So there we are, there's the bus, and then I sort of move the bus. Oh, I decide, no, I'll get to pivot the bus and then sort of just back it up into the key position. So that's my key position. I've got the bus touching that key position. So unless he comes and tries to remove the bus will hold that. That will allow me to move my Mandos up onto the center key position. And so the what's left of the Pikes attack Luke. Luke's got his dodge, and he survives that attack. So Luke's got 3 wounds on him. The advantage of having Operative Luke, I've been running Commander Luke lately, but I've got Operative Luke in this list, and he's got disengage, so he'll be able to leave that combat at will and go and attack someone else. And I've still got Force Push, Force Reflexes up my sleeve, and at the moment I'm wishing that I had brought Burst of Speed. So anyway, my remaining little veteran hiding behind the tree there, he's going to get gunned down by Mandos, so he's not going to be able to help me claim that center key position. And then Gar Saxon's moving up, and that's probably the mistake he's made there, because he's moved Gar Saxon up to make sure he can get rid of my little veteran hiding behind the tree there. But that does put him in range of a disengaging Luke Skywalker. So that might come into play later on, and that's the end of the veterans. So the veterans, they hung in for a while hiding behind that tree, but now they're all gone, and so it's opened up to the Mandos. Can they come in and take the center position? So a little bit of to and froing here, not many activations left on either side, probably a couple of Mandos and Gar Saxon and the Pikes. So I'm just moving my Mandos up from behind the building to behind that center key position. So that tall building is the key position. So I'm going to hold that tree with the bus, funnily enough, and the key position in the middle with my Mandos. So if they can survive, I'll have 2 positions, unless he's going to have to either go back to his own key position at the back, which I think he might have forgotten about at this stage. He's just trying to wipe me out, I think. Eventually I'm going to have to go with Luke, and so there's some more shooting. I think he might be firing at the bus, and then he's decided to move back towards his key position to hold that one. And so I'm going to disengage with Luke, so I'm just going to jump over the log and then charge into Gar Saxon. I'm just checking I've got the ranges to do it. So I charge into Gar Saxon and have a swing with Luke's black dice, and I think I only managed to do 1 wound in the end. He's got impervious. He rolls a handful of red dice, and only 1 wound goes through on Gar Saxon. But Luke's tied him up, and then I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to force push those Mandos in or away. So I force push them away. I'm not sure what I was thinking at this point. I probably should have just force pulled, but then they could have aimed and attacked Luke. So at least if they want to come in and attack Luke, they have to move in and then attack him. So he decides to do that. He decides to jump into combat with Luke and punch him. And Luke, he's taken 3 wounds so far, and after this combat he'll take another couple of wounds. So Luke with only 2 wounds left at the end of it. So there's Luke fighting all the Mandos on his own as we go into the final turn.
I can't believe it. We made it to turn 6.
Okay, so it's turn 6. It's I Am Jedi versus Ploy. You're up first.
Okay, and then the final turn, and we sort of call it at this point because Luke has played I Am Jedi, which will stop Gar Saxon and the Mandos from attacking him. So that takes out their options. So all I have to do is just keep Luke in there in combat with them. They can't attack him or kill him. If they disengage, they can only move 1. So their only hope was to kill Luke and then move into the center objective. So we call it at that point because he can't kill Luke, he can't disengage and move more than a speed 1 move to the center objective. And I have a couple of remaining veterans and my Mandos on the center objective and my bus holding the back objective. so it's going to be a victory to the rebels. So I Am Jedi wins the day. So tying up those mandos, it wasn't a plan. I just thought, oh, I'll play that card now, and it stops them from attacking and killing Luke, and then they can't move any further than a speed 1 move. They would have had to kill Luke and then move into the center objective. So we call it at that, a 2-1 victory to the rebels. Luckily, Luke made a few saves at the right time. It is good using Operative Luke over Commander Luke, but I think some on my list have been trying with Commander Luke. Commander Luke's okay, he just has the same command cards, just not all the options, but he's a little bit cheaper. So, fiddling around with my rebel lists. I like the bus and the wookies, that's good fun, but once the wookies get out, they don't do much after a little bit of an attack with some black dice, so they're not a great option. The Wookiees need a little bit more of a boost. They tend to die straight away after they've got out of the bus. So I have to rethink that, but I definitely do like Operative Luke. He's still pretty good, even though Commander Luke's got a bit cheaper. Way up those options there, but the Shadow Collective will hold their key position. I've still got some mandos left, so they will be able to. I've got 2 units that will be able to hold the centre position, even if those pikes run up. So I Am Jedi for the win. It's a very powerful card if you play it at the right time, and Luke managed to survive with a couple of wounds left to slow down the Super Commando Mandalorians. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks
Bye
for
now.
watching another Creaky Gamers production. We hope it wasn't too bad. Please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more gripping battle reports. Please leave any suggestions below. Bye for now, and may the Force be with you.